one of the familiar faces on the preseason Bills television network, but more prominently calls NFL games on CBS. It's Andrew Catalon joining us as we congratulate him on what will be his 200th NFL game called on the NFL on CBS this weekend.
Congratulations,
congratulations, Andrew. First of all, thanks for joining us.
No, thank you, guys. I appreciate it. You both mean the world to me, your entire crew, and that entire organization means a lot to me as well. So thank you.
Yeah. So, of course, in tremendous spirit to honor this, they give you the best defense in the NFL against the worst offense in the NFL. Could there be a more dichotomous matchup? Raiders-Texans.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, as I've seen the Raiders a couple of times this month already out in L.A. against the Chargers and then that home game against Denver. They are struggling. They do not have a lot of talent. They've lost 8 in a row. Geno Smith's banged up. It's a tough go right now for the Raiders, but this is the first time I'll get to see the Texans. And as the Bills found out a month ago, it's a very dangerous team with the playoffs approaching.
What has Pete Carroll said about his team? I mean, this is a guy that's used to winning. He's an accepted high-level head coach. Certainly he's older than anybody else in the league doing it, but nevertheless, it doesn't seem like he's lost that much off his fastball as a coach. What's his message to you, and subsequently what's his message to his own team? What's he said?
Yeah, Steve, it's been interesting, and Pete, he's so optimistic. He's always positive. He feels like he could dig out, find a way, figure things out. But this is not what he expected. I mean, he clearly thought that with Geno Smith and Bowers and Genty and Crosby on defense, they were going to figure out a way to win more than 2 games. It hasn't happened, and now I think it puts the Raiders in an interesting position. I mean, Carroll himself admitted that it's a rebuild time. And do they want to rebuild with the oldest head coach in NFL history? Some people might say yes, he's the right person for this type of job. But I think it has been tough on him. It's the longest losing streak of his career. It's the most games he's ever lost in one season. And there's just, you look at the game last Sunday in Philly, they had 75 yards of offense. It's just been really, really bleak for Las Vegas.
As you pointed out, the Bills know all too well how difficult it is to play in Houston against that defense, especially when they have the crowd behind them to boot. And they really have not shown any sign of slowing down. They're still trying to make a go of it for the AFC South title, still a game back of the Jags, a team with whom they split this season. But they've got the quietest 6-game winning streak, I think, in the league.
Yeah, Chris, it's really amazing how they have turned things around after that 0-3 start. And then they lost C.J. Stroud for 3 games with the concussion. We're able to navigate that. And now this defense is really scary. And I think when you look at the AFC this year, and I know you guys have talked about this, there's no dominant team. And you can make a case for any of the 7 teams that get in that could go to the Super Bowl and represent the AFC. It's really going to come down to the hottest team. And right now, the Texans, as you said, have quietly put together a 6-game win streak. So they're still in the mix for the division. There's a lot of confidence on the defensive side, and it's starting to be a little more confident on the offensive side. They put up 40 against Arizona last week. They're getting some contributions from some different running backs. And Nico Collins continues to be one of the premier wide receivers in the NFL. So everything's coming together for them, and we'll see how they finish here down the stretch.
I know you may not have spoken to him because you're going to get a chance to see him this week, but DeMeco Ryans, head coach, he has kind of held it together. They kind of stumbled out of the gate, and there was some doubts about CJ and the whole thing. But DeMeco deserves some credit for figuring it out and finding a recipe now that has got him on the ascent here at the end of the season, which is, the most important thing when you got a year like this in the conference.
Yeah, no doubt, Steve. 0-3 start and some close games, but anytime you start 0-3, you start hearing the stats. Only this many teams have made the playoffs, and it gets stacked against you pretty quickly. But Will Anderson is a stud, as the Bills saw. Danielle Hunter, opposite of him, has played really well, and their secondary is fantastic. And I think DeMeco Ryans deserves a lot of credit. He is a passionate guy. He's a guy that has that locker room very close, and to weather that storm and be in their position now, he certainly should be in that mix and there's a lot of good candidates, but in that mix for Coach of the Year.
All right, so Andrew, for game number 200, are you casting a wary and super sleuth eye as to whether some hijinks could be in order here from either your broadcast partners or the crew? This is a milestone game, but there might be something special in the works there. I mean, are you trying to keep your ear to the ground on that, or you're just going to try to sit back and be pleasantly surprised at being recognized?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I appreciate everything CBS has done. But, when something like this happens, I think you think most about the people you've been with over the years. And, my first game was 2011 with Steve, and he's now become one of my dear friends. Oh, my gosh, you guys have
wow, look at the haircuts there.
How did this happen?
Wow.
Steve looks the same. I've aged about 50 years.
Yeah,
but what I remember about that is I did not sleep one wink the night before. I was so nervous. I paced that hotel room in Cincinnati, and then we were only going to like 2% of the country.
Yeah, we had the skim milk game.
Yeah, exactly. But every other 1 o'clock game finished early. We had a tie game at the 2-minute warning, and I remember in my ear hearing, all right, you need to welcome in the whole country. And that was the way my first broadcast went on CBS with Steve, who is still one of my best friends. So this is full
that's
circle
really cool.
here.
Yeah, Andrew's great. He people don't know this. He stays at my house when we do the preseason games at home. So anyway,
stays at the task.
But I remember, and this is still the case. Andrew, everybody knows what spotter boards are. You kind of make these things up that have the rosters on them. You kind of hand make them, or you have there's services that also make them and stuff. Andrew makes his by hand, and they're the size of a whiteboard. He brought, for his first game in 2011, he comes in, and CBS said, hey, we're going to give this guy a chance. Would you mind doing it? I said, yeah, sure, bring him in. So Andrew shows up. He's got spotter boards literally the size of a refrigerator.
It's like an
door.
old piece of poster board that you have for projects in school.
So he is totally prepared, except for he's right. He tells me, like, listen, I didn't sleep at all last night. I'm like, what? He goes, I didn't sleep at all.
Let me put you at ease, Steve.
Let me put you at ease. Let
me
me just like take the whole pressure off of you. I haven't slept in 48 hours. So he says that, and then we get up to do the open, and everybody knows what that is. It's like where the Collinsworth slide takes place. The play-by-play guy.
Scene setter, yeah.
Yeah, the play-by-play guy appears on camera, and the two of you are there together, and we're doing that, getting ready for the game, and Andrew is literally trembling because, this is, you can imagine, this is career make or break, right? It's a shot on a national network. Not everybody gets one. Andrew had put together enough stuff on tape and enough experienced play-by-play stuff from, I don't even remember what you were doing. Just, you know how it is, play-by-play guys, you do whatever you can do, right? And he shows up, and so I get a call from CBS after the weekend to say, hey, how'd the guy do? What did you think? And certainly they talked to our producer and all that, but they also called me. And let me just say, I could not have pumped your tires any more than I did. I loved working with you right from the day one. It was so fun. We had a blast. And
we did.
We've been friends ever since, and I know that not long after that, you were full-time and have been ever since.
Yeah, you remember that weekend well. I mean, that was unbelievable how close that game was and how nervous I was. And to your point, you don't get a lot of shots. And if you step up to the plate and you strike out, you might not get up to the plate again. So there was a lot on my mind that game, but you put me at ease, and I felt just so comfortable with you. And now to think about all the games we've done together, from CBS to the Bills preseason, which is over 10 years now, I feel very fortunate and lucky. And it's certainly something that, especially this time of year, you don't take for granted.
Yeah, shortly after that, you turned 30 years old, right? I mean, that's how young you were.
32 for that game.
You just had a birthday or something, I remember, around that time. And now, I mean, you're going to be doing this when you're 90, you know that, right? You're going to be like Al Michaels. You're going to be 80 years old, and you're going to be, good for you.
If I can start playing golf like you, I'll quit a lot earlier than you imagine. Right now,
you'll quit. You'll quit.
It's not good enough.
You'll quit golf. That's what you'll do if you play me, like me.
Probably.
And that's the thing too. It's been fun because you're a play-by-play guy, and your versatility and your talent is shown, because now CBS uses you in the 18th Tower when Jim Nantz needs a week off. You've been doing Masters coverage on the internet for like a decade now, right? I mean, it's been a long time. They've started to you have started to be used and show your versatility a lot more on the golf coverage and college basketball as well, March Madness. So it's a lot of fun. I know this too. I loved my time at CBS because I got to work with quality people like you, and it's fun for you because you get a little variety of what you can do, right?
Yeah, no doubt. And, you think back to that game with you in 2011, and if it didn't go well, who knows, if any of these things would have happened. So
Right.
I appreciate it, and it's been a great run, and CBS has treated me really well, as have the Bills. I mean, I love doing the preseason games, being with that organization, being up there every summer. That is a very important part and special part of my year each and every year, and I'm really glad that I'm a small part of the preseason coverage up there.
Andrew, how did you obviously Steve was an experienced guy when you got to sit next to him and get started, and now Jason McCourty's kind of doing that same thing at the network level anyway, with you as the third guy in your booth now. How much of I don't think it's a challenge for you being as experienced as you are, but how do you incorporate a third voice, not that you hadn't done it before, but full time every week after you had been with just a single partner for some time?
Yeah, the three-man booth's a challenge, and Steve and I had that with Steve Berline, but those are some tough times occasionally. And, I think that Jason is younger. I mean, I don't think that. He is younger, and just that's a different type of perspective on the field in terms of, what he's seeing out there. But also you have a guy who just basically has spent every fall weekend for the last 18, 20 years. Now he gets home to be with his family, and now he's got to go away again every weekend when his kids are starting to play football. And Steve and Chris, all that too well, how many things you miss when you're in this business. So navigating a little bit of that, but Jason's fantastic. He studies so much. I mean, we get on the plane after a game and he's already watching film of the next game. And I really admire him and his work ethic. And, I've been lucky. I've mentioned Steve, but James Lofton for 6 years, Matt Ryan, Tiki Barber, now Jason McCourty and Charles Davis. I did a game with Rich Gannon, Adam Archuleta. I've worked with some great people in the NFL booth over the years. So I feel lucky, and we all get along really well.
One of the perks of being your buddy is that when we go to do a game or we go to anywhere, if there's a college basketball game going on, I can call you.
Oh, yeah.
We
did that last year at the Combine.
We got Butler tickets. Have you got any college basketball on your docket here coming up? Have you been notified that you're going to be working those?
Are you asking because you're curious or because you want tickets?
No, he's already looking for tickets.
Listen, Andrew.
How shameless he is.
I'm looking out for my boy Andrew Catalon. It's any benefit that I get is ancillary. Are you working college basketball?
I will start college basketball in late January, do the NCAA tournament again. Just don't ask for Masters tickets. I can't help you on that one. I can't help anyone on that one. So
yeah, I get you.
He's already been anyway.
I get you.
This guy, I know. He's big everywhere.
Time. Quickly before we let you go, Andrew, Josh Allen has kind of vaulted himself back into the league MVP conversation. Stafford has been there pretty much from the beginning and has a giant game tonight on Thursday Night Football against the Seahawks. And then, Drake May with the season he put together up in New England, including a 10-game winning streak, is still part of that conversation. Also, you want to give me your best handicapping of that and, what you think may still need to happen maybe for Josh to stay in it here in these final 3 games.
Yeah, I was in Seattle last week for the Seahawks Phillip Rivers game. And that's a massive game tonight between the Rams and the Seahawks. And I think a lot of that could dictate, what you think of Stafford and the Rams. I mean, if they go on the road on a short week without Devontae Adams, I mean, that's a pretty big message that they'd be sending right there. I would put Josh ahead of Drake May in the voting right now, if you're just asking me, and I don't have a vote. I think that Josh is the best player left who's still available to play in the postseason. And people have been asking me about, do you think home field advantage will matter that much this year in the playoffs? And I think it will for a younger quarterback. I don't think it'll matter much for the Bills. Obviously, I know they'd rather be at home. But if you got to tell me that Josh has to go on the road and win a couple of playoff games, obviously I believe that he can. So I think there's a lot to be determined in terms of the MVP race. But I still believe that Josh is in good shape, and that the Bills, that they're going to be in good shape as well.
All right, Andrew. Thanks for coming on, man. It's great seeing you. Travel safe this weekend.
Great seeing you guys. Happy holidays. Thank you so
All right,
much.
have a great broadcast, Andrew. That's Andrew Catalon from the NFL on CBS, going to broadcast his 200th game for the network on Sunday. He's doing Raiders at Texans.